I felt we're going to come in this world, we're going to definitely come in between lots of channels, women who pretend to be empowered, who pretend to empower other women. And in reality, they're not walking, they're not an embodiment of an empowered woman. And so that also becomes challenging for the women who are out here trying to do what we're here to do for all kinds of women.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, to me it's just so sad. But also because if we put ourselves in categories, right? Like if you're a wife, if you're a mom, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're a housewife, everybody wants to label themselves accordingly and say, this is better. This kind of woman is better. This kind of woman is the woman. Like that's and it sucks because it's like, we're in 2021. Why should we box ourselves and then say, don't put me there, don't put me in a corner, don't do that, don't label me, don't put me in this corner and say, you are a woman, you sit there, you look pretty, you hush up, or you go in the kitchen, you go cook and clean, or you go take care of the baby and you go nurse the baby, or you go to work and be quiet, don't level up, because that is not what you're expected to do. So if we don't want that done to ourselves, why do we do that to other women? It doesn't matter what they choose. For me, if you're an entrepreneur, a housewife, you are whatever you decide to be, that's what I'm here to empower you to do. It's whatever is
Okay.
is best for you,
Yeah,
right? I feel like boss lady is so like, oh, glamorized. We're all boss women. You're a mother, or you're just a woman. You're a woman. Period. Period. You're a
yeah,
woman. Why do we have to add all these roles to secure our placement when you're more than enough? You deserve it. You deserve it all. You deserve your placement on this earth. We don't need to add the titles. We don't need to even refer to the titles, but we do. We succumb to it. And then we're exhausted. Exhausted.
yeah, yeah. I think also it's like how things used to be, right? In the sense of, I don't know, in the US, but like you go to a network event and then you say, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Patricia and I am an accountant. Or like you put that title on our mom, or like who are you? Like, tell me about you. And then sometimes people freak out because they can't tell anything about themselves, right? And it's like, you yourself, you're putting a title to you, but like, who are you as an individual? And that is really difficult to detach yourself. You
Wow.
need to really work inside, I think, to really detach yourself of all those titles and not going into that title. And I think the time that it happened to me was when I was, I think in the US you say lay off or lie off.
Laid off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here we say redundant, from a company that I worked for 7.5 years. And it was a shock because my statement when I was like, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Patricia. And what do you do? It's like, I work in such and such place. Not even the title of what I was doing, not the word, because it's a very, very big company. And everybody was like, oh, wow. And that was enough. Like, tick, that is what I
Ah,
do. And then when you get away from that and it's like, you're not going to work there, that is when I start thinking like, why I need to identify myself with the company that I work with. Like, it's okay that you like it, you love it, you like love the core values that company have, but
right.
why you need to be related to that company when you are approaching people and saying, nice to meet you, yeah, I'm working such and such, and it's like a statement, right? And that was the time that I started thinking about all those titles that we put ourselves. And then it took me a while to realize, like, what can I say? Like what I feel,
Sure.
what I was feeling so attached to the company, right? And part of my identity was that. So that is what you're saying, part of your identity as define yourself as a mom, as a wife, as a this, as a that. But like, who are you, like, as an individual human being, right?
It's so interesting to say that, because even in Instagram, like it's so hard for me to write what that one thing that people are looking for. I'm like, man, what, what do I put? I sometimes just feel like putting woman. Okay, that's it. I'm putting, and that's it. Okay, people. look through
Yeah.
the page or whatever and pick and choose what you like. But it is hard. It's who are you? Like, what do you do? And I think that's why it becomes so hard to make friends as you get older too, right? Because when you're young, it's like, what do you like? You know, do you play a sport? What songs? What music do you listen to? What shows do you watch? You get older, it's like, what do you do? Because I want to judge you based on the roles you play,
Yeah.
job you have. So basically, what money do you make? You know, how many people do you know? And, you know, that's it. And it's so one sided. It's really hard. It's really, really hard because it's always existed, I think, but with the feasibility of and accessibility to social media, and it just heightens it. It just elevates, and you're like, it just doesn't end. And the more you're into it, and the more you're doing, you're like, oh my gosh, another platform or another thing to do. And it sucks because there's so much competition, which is healthy for anything, but it should be on the exterior. And when you come into the interior part of interacting with other women who need you and who you need, like together, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Totally.
So
And it's no, go ahead, go ahead.
that adds on to the pressures of the work-life balance. God, if we could just work in peace, just work in peace.
And I guess that's the $1,000,000 question. How do you balance it all?
Oh man, how do we do it?
Who is going to answer that?
And I see we have some other young ladies in here. Maybe they can answer.
Yeah.
Tania, I can't pronounce Miss Lewis and Miss Taquana. I mean, let us know. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you guys feel like? Is that a big question? Is that something you guys have been trying to ask yourself, how you balance it all?
100%. I struggle with that all the time because I feel like whenever I'm doing something for me, someone else is like, wait, but where's my time? You didn't do this for me. You're not here for me. You're here for everyone else. I'm like, no, I just want to be here for myself. Is that okay? And for some reason, it's never okay. I was literally just in a therapy session talking about this.
Mm.
And so I'm working on setting my boundaries and not feeling guilty about keeping them.
That,
Yes,
that's helping me find my balance.
that.
Yeah. I personally think that there is no balance at all. That word is like overrated. I think it's seriously sorry, but I think it's overrated. I think it's more about you choose what to do during the day or doing your work, and then you choose to be okay with I couldn't finish this or I couldn't do that. You are okay, and you choose what are like the three main things that you want to achieve that day, and if the other ones can be done, move it for the following day, or you know, like, because otherwise you feel super frustrated. So and I mean what you're saying is so true. Like in my case, I have a job, I have a full-time job, I have a business, also I have a podcast, and then I have my kids, husband, and my mom was here. And then I was in between my mom, my husband, and my kids. And then my mom was like on Saturdays, like, so I haven't been out the whole week. You're going to take me out, right? I was like, okay. Do you know, like that level? And then obviously your kids are like, mommy, come. Look, you know, and the husband is like, come on. And then you have job and all that kind of thing. And he can feel quite overwhelmed, but exactly what you're saying is not feeling guilty about taking your time off for yourself as well. It's quite important. And those boundaries are super important. A few times I have to tell to my mom, it's like, if I don't go and do exercise, it's going to be a problem here. Like, I need it, not because I want to look amazing. So I need it for my brain. And she was like, okay. So, even for my mom was difficult to understand that.
It's true. It's
yeah.
true. Balance. I think it's more of an illusion, because balance means that everything is like exactly where it should be, and you're not an octopus. Like it doesn't matter if you have multiple children, multiple businesses, or multiple projects in front of you. We're not an octopus. Like doing things one at a time helps, but to do everything at the same time can throw you off for a loop. But also it's the boundaries part for me, you know, it's like, and if you don't hold yourself to those boundaries, other people won't. So it's going to add to that stress level.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of times we're the ones hardest on ourselves too, right? Because we're like, we could do it all, and you know you can. And until you haven't done it, you don't feel like you could do it, really. So it's almost like you play with your own head, like, I can do this and I can do that. And then you're like, I'm going to do it all. And then you're like, I am completely exhausted. I'm drained because I'm human. And I thought I was really superwoman because, you know, somebody said that and I believed it because I felt like it one day. But the next day I didn't. So now I'm exhausted. But I like your mindset, Patricia, about like, listen, it's really not about work, and it's get what you can done today and not tomorrow. I wish I could be that way. I'm really hard on myself. There's times where I'm like, oh my gosh, holding one eye, and I'm like on the computer, I'm like, oh my God. And my husband's like, just stop already. You know, tomorrow's another day. And I'm like, is it though? Is it? Like, who said it's guaranteed? Like,
Right.
Because tomorrow something else might come up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my gosh, you know, but I think we need to have that grace and give ourselves that space. We need to hold space for ourselves and forgive ourselves when we put too much on ourselves. Not if we don't get it done. It's like, listen, there's these amount of hours in the day. How many did you give to yourself? To yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I know for me, same thing. It's the unrealistic expectations, overcommitting myself, saying no, and part to, you know, being proactive with my time. And it's like, when I don't set those boundaries and somebody's asking me to do something and I know I'm tired, sometimes it's hard for me to say no. I feel guilty for saying no, because it's like, okay, I really could do it. But my body's like, you worked all day. You're tired. There is nothing else you can give anybody. So learn to say no and be okay with saying no. And stop overcommitting things you know you can't do. Yes, I got 24 hours, but I may not want to spend my hour to help you move, you know? So I got to be able to say, no, I can't help you move. Or no, I can't hear another story about you leaving that man again. I can't. I just can't. So it's just us as women, we definitely got to set those, like you say, expectations up front. Be aware that, yes, women, we can multitask, we can do it all, but sometimes that's not good for us either. Doing one thing at a time and keeping our focus on one thing is where our true strength is. We can do all, but why should we? Why burn ourselves out while everyone else is rested and refreshed and we're looking straight crazy because we're trying to clean the house, cook, work, you know, start a business, leave a business. We've got so much going on and no one's checking back on us to say, are you okay? Is your cup full? What can I do to help you? It's like, well, you're a mom, you're a woman, you should be able to do all of this. But sometimes we can't.
Yeah. I mean, the best example that I can give you is exactly what you're saying, Lillian. Like I was telling you before everybody joined that I used to go to bed quite late and it was okay. And I was sleeping like 5.5 hours because I wanted to do a lot of things. And I was okay doing exercise, like, you know, like, as you can see, like that, like fine or good in that sense. But then I did some analysis in my hormones and things like that. And then what happened was that I was suffering of chronic stress without being paranoid, crazy. I mean, eating healthy, doing exercise, like name it, like meditation in the morning. I do all that. And I was still having that. So I have to rethink. And that is what I'm telling you about that mindset that I'm telling you, I learned that recently because of what happened. So then what happened was I need to start going to bed early, which is something I'm still working, which is the hardest thing of all the things I have been doing. Like that has been the hardest thing. But I realized that even going early, I'm still achieving the same thing that I was achieving before. And that has been a quite interesting discovery of like, oh, okay. And as I was saying before, like being okay that I couldn't do this on that, because I decided that my 3 priorities, my 5 priorities was this one is okay, rather than let me squeeze a little another half an hour to finish this. Because I am the kind of person that I do things 100%. It's like if I'm telling you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to, give it to you 90% because I couldn't be bothered. No, I finish, even if you take until blah, blah, blah. But then I have to stop doing that. But I realize I'm achieving pretty much exactly the same thing, but now I'm sleeping more, which is going back to dedicating time for me. As you would say, Arvila, like we don't take care of ourselves, right? And then I have all this unbalance in a lot of and a lot of things going on. Nothing sinister or anything like that, but it was a wake-up call, like, okay, you can do everything, but you need to sleep, for example. That is my me time. And that is how I came into like, well, yeah, I need to put those boundaries as well to myself, as you say, Lilian. Like sometimes we are the putting all the hard work on ourselves. No one is asking us, because no one was asking me to stay until late and send this and do that. I was putting myself because I wanted to achieve it now.
And that's what Arvila was saying, we need to learn how to say no, but we need to learn how to say no to ourselves, because we don't have to do it all in one day. There is a tomorrow. We cannot think that there is no, because if we didn't think there wasn't a tomorrow, we wouldn't be pushing as hard. We know there's a tomorrow. So we need to trust in that there is some time and some space, but we need to be mindful of the energy, because rest is also energy. I mean, I can tell you earlier, I actually was without power for like a couple hours, and I was like, oh my gosh, if this power doesn't come back on, I'm not canceling. I'm like, Patricia is up. Patricia's staying awake for this. It's 12:25 midnight over there. But I'm like, I'm gonna find a place. I'm gonna do this. But I said, you know what? Let me clear my mind. Let me clear my head. And I went to meditate. And it's like I did a guided meditation, and I kid you not, I woke myself up because I started snoring. And I was like, what? I don't sleep. I don't take naps. I'm like, what's going on? And it was that moment of, you're exhausted. And it was a blessing that I didn't have Wi-Fi. I didn't have internet. Like I just didn't have anything going on. No TV, no music, nothing. And there was no noise. I turned off the noise. And this is the second time, like within a month span, that this happens. And it's like the universe reminding me, like, listen, you can go all you want. You can go run as fast as you can, go 1,000 miles per hour, but everything out here is going to keep rotating. The world's going to keep spinning. So, you could go ahead and try to spin with it, but, you need to slow down, or you need to pause. And I've preached this. I've even had a podcast about it, like Learn to Pause. And I was doing so well. Then suddenly I'm back to work, and I'm like, how do you do it? So I have to relearn time management. I have to relearn. And in that time that I have to relearn this, I have to have grace with myself. Because if I don't, and I run out of patience, everybody else around me is going to feel my wrath. It's just going to, because you don't understand, you don't realize that what you have inside of you comes out on your face, comes out in the way you speak, comes out in how you speak, not just your tone, but just even the energy you carry. It's like, it becomes so tense. It's hard for people to understand you, relate to you, hear you. And as a life coach, as a teacher, and all these other roles and hats that I wear that I love, I cannot do that well if I'm not giving myself what I need.
Yeah, totally.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Not only am I going to crack, because it's the same person wearing the same hats. There's just different layers. So not only am I going to crack as a teacher, as a blah, blah, it's going to end up, I'm going to crack as a person. And then what benefit am I to all these roles that I have committed to? Zero. It's nothing. So, I mean, I've learned, like, I used to be like a really huge, like, freak in my house. Like, I need to clean the floors every so often. I need to steam them. I need to do this. And I was so, like, picky today. I was really picky with everything. And I had to cook every single meal. And my kids better eat from mommy's hands. And now I'm like, so this is the menu. Just let me know what you want to have. because I'm like, the priority is that you eat. Okay. Not from my hands, but that you eat. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm shifting some responsibilities where I know, one, that I can't afford, you know, monetarily, and two, that I know won't take away from me also feeling like me, you know, because I do love to serve, but I'm like, I need to pick and choose what I'm serving today. And if I
Exactly.
serve me, that's what I'm gonna do. If I feel it in my heart, I'm gonna serve my children, I'm gonna serve my children. If I'm gonna serve my husband that day, it's him, or that hour, that 2 hours. You know, I think that's where I have found not balance, but a happy medium. Like, because I have to meet myself somewhere. So as long as if I fit in somewhere and I'm okay with myself, then I feel like, all right, I'm able to. But it's the hardest thing to do, is to learn that, because if we don't, we have the guilt inside of us. You're supposed to give. As women, you're supposed to nurture and care for everyone. And no, you come last. You serve your plate last. I mean, that's how I grew up. That's what I saw. As a wife, or as a mother, as a woman, any woman, you're the girl in the house. You're the last one to sit down after we eat, because you better go clean them dishes. The boys are probably outside playing, or they're on the couch, and you're freaking, I hate this. I'm never getting married. Never gonna, like, never getting married. But we allow these conditions and to really set in our heads, and what we do and what we practice. And then suddenly one day you're doing that and you're like, wait, hold up. I said, what, when I was, what age? And I'm here now voluntarily. Wait,
And happily doing it.
voluntarily, I'm here now. And we have to really check ourselves. We have to check ourselves, and we need to learn, you know, what you want to do. You could do it all, but do you have to do it all? And can that wait? And can you pause that and do this, because this is a priority also? Because I think it's in the art of prioritizing some things. Everything has to get done, but it doesn't have to get done at the same time, in the same order, on the same day.
Yeah.
Also big, you know, especially when you're handling multiple tasks on your own. On top of that, like, I don't have an assistant. I know it's me. Okay, it's not my assistant replying to your IGs,
Right.
you know, to whatever Twitter, LinkedIn, and whatever groups you're part of, and the networking pieces. It's all us behind the screens, and behind that screen, right? That other screen that we show everybody. That's the person that needs to be balanced out, not the hats. It's you. You need to be balanced. And everybody's balance looks differently. There's no one hat size fits all.
Yeah.
What works for me may not work for someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I had to find me a book. I'm glad we're on this topic, but it's you can see it, Take Back Your Time by Christy Wright. It just came. It literally came in the mail yesterday. When you told me about the topic, I'm like, this is so much right on time, because I've been watching her for a while, and she does a lot of stuff about work balance, and even her family, being a mom of 3. She knows what it's like to have a business, to work for Dave Ramsey, and then still be her. So when I seen this book, I was like, I definitely have to get this book and just find out me. I mean, I need to figure out where I can take my time back, because it's so hard working in everyday life, especially with COVID. It seemed like everything is more now, because we're trying to catch up from all the time, and the money we lost during COVID is more work. It's, you know, people are stressed. You know, you go to restaurants, they don't have enough workers. So you can tell the overwhelmness is out there, not just women, but it's out there. But how do we rein it back in so we can take our time back without being selfish? What measures can we put together that, you know, make sure that we're okay? I don't want to feel guilt-free because, you know, my husband's downstairs and he wants to spend time with me. But I know for me, taking a bath, that's my me time. Me working out, that's my me time. Me going to go spend time with the girls in the evening, that's my me time. And I don't want to feel guilty and feel like I have to weigh a scale and pick and choose. I want to be able, if I'm not whole, I'm not good to nobody else. You know, I'm not going to be my best self. I'm not going to be 100%. And it's like, when are you going to say, now is the time? Now I'm ready to take my life back. Now it's time to say, my family's going to love me whether I'm healthy or not, but I choose to be healthy. I'm going to take what I have do the best that I can do. And like you guys said, you may not be able to get 5 things done in one day, but 3 things, great. 1 thing, great. But I'm doing something every day to move myself forward to become a better person. And a better person doesn't mean team no sleep or team, I'm out here till I get it. No, I got to rest. I got to get some mental time. I got to get self-care. There's things that I got to do to be a better wife, to be a better mother, to be a better daughter, to be a better entrepreneur. I got to take those things back by the rein and start implementing new habits, morning routines, evening routines, workout routines. I got to be able to start put things in place. So whatever else is coming, it's going to have to fall in alignment on what I already have. So if you want to come into my space, understand that I get up in the morning. I read the Bible. I do journal. I drink water. And then if you want to talk to me after 8, I'm good. Or I go to bed. Me and my husband spend an hour together. I take a bath. If you want to talk to me from 6 to 8, I'm there. But I'm not going to start changing my mind and changing my schedule basically to fit people. Because that's what I've noticed. I'll make an exception one time, but that one time they don't value my time. So they know to call me every time at 8 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning, because that's that one time question is now, oh, I can call her anytime at 6 o'clock. I can call her anytime at 9 o'clock. No, we got to go back to setting those boundaries, saying, hey, I'm going to be good to you if I get a full 8 hours of sleep. Anytime after 9, you got it. But when I get home at 6, 7, I'm with my family, I'm with myself, I'm with my husband. That's my time. So, out of respect, let me take my time back. Let me get me so I can be better for you tomorrow. I can be a better client, a better worker, a better wife, a better mom. But let me take my time back.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 100% what I think we needed to hear that.
I have a question though, because you are speaking exactly to what I am dealing with right now. But how do you set those boundaries with the people in your household or the people in your family? Like, I need my me time, but then it's like, he needs his me time too, or his we time. And I'm like, I didn't have enough me time today. Right. So how do you set that boundary without coming off like cold or distant? Like, I do want to spend time with you, but I need some time to just be me by myself, with myself.
And that's a great question. What I do with my husband, I have and this may sound cliche, but I do have a schedule. There's certain times of the day where I know I'm my strongest, and there's certain times of the day where I know I need to replenish. So in advance, I tell my husband, hey, babe, I know you want to spend time with me, but my good time is between 4 and 6. Give me between 4 and 6. I'll make sure dinner's ready. I'll make sure whatever we need is done, but I need time to recharge. And then once I recharge, then let's reconvene. Let's watch a movie. Let's go out to eat. But in order for me to be healthy for you and not snap at you, I'm going to need some time to kind of regroup, because it's kind of been a long day today. And I don't want you to think I'm taking it out on you when it wasn't your fault. So give me an hour, give me 2 hours, and even try to set up if it's weekly or daily. If you tell your family, and let me show you my little sign. In my little office, this is what I got. So when they see the sign and the door is shut, they know I'm here doing business. And even if it's nothing but me laying on my carpet, resting, stretching, they know when the door is shut and this sign is up, don't bother her, because she needs to recharge. And I let them know in advance, hey, this week is going to be a little busy. I'm going to need an hour every day after work to wind down and get back together. So let them know, give them your expectations. You know how your day was, and every day might be different. But if you know you need once a day for an hour to wind down, let your family know. If you can go twice a week doing it, your self-care. So it's not going to be rude if you come across in a calm voice, because if you come across angry and mad at that man, what's wrong with you? You on your period? Da, 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 da. So do it with a time. Do it when it's a time of calmness, where you guys are just kind of in a time where you guys are both relaxed and say, hey, babe, I notice I do better when I take me some me time. Every day for about an hour, if you can just give me an hour to unwind, gather my thoughts, we can get back together and we can talk about whatever you need. But it makes me feel better and feel whole when I can unwind. So set your schedule. Let them know what you need.
Yeah, I will say the same thing. It's all about communication and explaining the benefits of that. It's like, as you say, like, I'm going to be a better person. I need this time. In my case now, I say to my husband, like, I want to do something different. So I want to do from 4:30 to 6:30, I'm going to be working. I mean, I have my two full-time jobs, so I'm going to dedicate those couple of hours. And then 2 times a day, 2 times a week, I'm going to do exercise. So that means that he needs to do dinner for the kids, like I say in advance. And it's all explained, and he knows I'm here like doing my thing, and he's okay. But then after that, we have dinner together, and then he's kind of like putting the kids in bed and all that kind of thing. But it's kind of like saying in advance. And even when you have those difficult weeks or something like that, or you are in a period of your time either at work or in studies or whatever you're doing, or business or whatever, just tell them, like, I'm doing this for all of us, right? When I don't know if that happened to you, that sometimes it's like, oh, you're going to your work again, or you're going to do this again. It's like, oh, you're in that thing. And it's like, go and talk. It's like, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to be better at blah, blah, blah. I want to do this for us as a family. And it took quite a while for my husband to get it and to really understand, because always was like, oh, you know, like they rolling eyes. It's like, listen, yes, it might look like I'm doing a lot of networking or social events. And yes, I have a good time. I'm not going to deny that. But I'd rather be in here with you guys than having the drink or something like that. But I need to do that in order to, you know, us to be better. I'm doing this for you and for the kids. Took a while, but they will see the difference in you as well. And they will see that consistency that you're having in, for example, having your hour of exercise, they will see it in your body. They will see it in how you are happy. And then they won't interrupt that. That happened with my husband as well. Like, he said that I was serious about the exercise thing and see the change.
Yes.
And now he almost like support, not almost like support me. Like, go and do your exercise, my darling. Like, you look good, you know?
Right.
But that takes time. But it's communication at the beginning, explaining what you are doing rather than just rant, or, as I really say, like shouting and discussing that. And then give you time, because the time will show. If you are consistent in what you're doing, time will go. And you will create a habit, you know? Like with my kids, they know that they by now they know that they don't come at certain hours because mommy's in the office. And it took a little while, but they get it now.
Yeah, I think you said it with the word consistency. Because
oh yeah,
I think that's where we get the respect, is when the consistency will show. Will tell people how reliable and how accountable you are when you are consistent with what you say you claim you need. You know, it's like, if you're not being consistent, like, I need me time, and you do it only when you're stressed, that you're sending a message to the people that you love and the people you want to, you know, that you want them to respect your time, because they're like, okay, but if you're not stressed, then why are you having me time then? You look fine. And that's also something that, you know, people confuse. Like, listen, I need me time when I'm okay as well, so that I don't get to that point as often, because of course we're human, we're going to break down, or sometimes we're hormonal creatures, and there'll be days where we don't even understand ourselves, and we're like, just trying to understand myself. I'm trying to just get there. So like, give me some space. But it's the consistency. When you're consistent with your me time, and me time doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing or even a mental thing. It could be in how you do things. Now, you know, when I'm doing this, I'm going to need this kind of space. When I'm doing that, I'm going to need this kind of support, because that's also, you know, the other boundary is not, for me, I don't hear boundaries as this is what you don't pass, but the boundaries also, this is where I let you enter. And this is how I would like for you to enter this space.
Yeah.
And that to me is also part of what holding a boundary is, because I know that a boundary initially for me was like, okay, this is the line you don't cross. But really, it's like, it's an invisible line, and there's no box, and this is just a space that we're holding. And I invite you here, and I hope that you're able to understand that I don't particularly need your presence or energy here. That is what I think a healthy boundary is. Now, it's much more easier with adults and the partner or a husband or whatever. But when it comes to kids, they're all narcissists, okay? They're supposed to be. They're supposed to be narcissists. They're here to figure themselves out. Until they don't do that, it's all about them, honey. They don't care if you have a work call. They don't care if you're sick. They don't care. And that's their job not to care, right? It really is.
Yeah.
It really is their job to not care while you help them and support them in their growth and to get there. And it's easier said than done. But when in hindsight, you're going to just feel like, oh, got it. It happens. It's okay. We were all narcissists too. Some of us don't stop being it, right? We have our tantrums and we have our moments, and you're like, okay, got it, got noted. And it's really hard to deal with those people, especially when you've come past that. You're like, no, it's not about me. It's about us. It's about we, and it's me first, but not just me only. But kids don't get that, especially mom, because literally the first person they ever met, felt, understood, and loved, and heard, and everything was you from the womb. So it doesn't matter how old they get. It doesn't matter. Things change. They get challenging, but it's hard with kids, especially the younger they are, and especially if they're close in age, because there's no gap where they're learning the maturity from another sibling. Perhaps also that's the big challenge. But every child has their needs too, like there's kids that are autistic, there are kids that have ADHD, there's kids that are athletic, there's kids that have so many components physically, mentally, or socially that may impede them from understanding how another kid may understand. So there's a whole other umbrella, so many other layers to that cake. But we have to remember that kids they're gonna need us, so we have to be a little bit more patient with them than we are with ourselves until they learn and develop. But the only way they're gonna know how they're gonna do that is by seeing their mom exercise that healthy, way on how to problem solve, how to stress manage, because there's no such thing as no stress. So how are you gonna manage that stress? When conflicts come up, how are you gonna solve that conflict? When you're angry, how are you gonna handle yourself? What do you say to yourself? Are you gonna scream, I'm so stupid? I'm so dumb, I'm so angry? How would you just think, what is something you would want your kid to hear? And what if we're talking now as an adult, and now your adult child is 30 years old, and you're however old, and you're thinking, no, why are you even saying that about yourself? And here we are teaching our offspring and teaching all the young ones around us what it's like to really have the me time. So me time, I think, starts from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed. How we manage that time is all ours.
Yeah.
I think it's mental when we think it belongs to anybody else. Absolutely not. It's your life, it's your time, it's your energy, and you have to know when you can give, when you cannot, and how much of it. Because I think there is no, and I go back to what Patricia was saying earlier, I don't think there's such a thing as balance. And listen, I'm a Libra. Today we entered Libra season. No, there is no such thing. There is no such thing as having everything nice and flat and nice and steady. And you know what? It's boring as heck if we do it that way anyway.
And Lil, I also learned that even with the balance, we've all seen the balance wheel that tells, your relationships, your health, everything's supposed to have an equal set of the pie. I noticed that there's going to be some seasons where I may want to focus on my health and money. The next season is my spouse. So it's not going to be every time I'm focusing on all 8 aspects of my life at one time. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have energy for certain seasons of my life. And I'm learning to accept that, because corporate America makes you think, okay, you need to divvy it this time for work, this time for personal, this time for spiritual. And it's supposed to be an equally cut pie. But we all know, as women, as moms and wives, it's never equal. Mm-hmm. Something is taking more from somewhere else. And if you try to balance all 8 of them, something's going to fall at the wayside. And it's going to be the thing that's probably the most important to you, a relationship with your husband. You're snapping off at him just because the job is asking you to work 70 hours a week, but you're snapping off at him, the kids, or vice versa. Your health is taking effect. You're trying to give all to your job, but you're not eating good. You're not sleeping good. Mm-hmm. So there's no way to have a balanced life. Yes, we would love to have a form of a balanced life, but I've come to the point where I accept that my balance is not going to be perfect every time. I might can only focus on my health and my husband one season, the next time my job, the next season, 3 other things, but it's never going to be perfect for me. And until I understand that, I don't feel like I'm juggling so many balls at once. I'm okay if 3 of them are sitting to the side. I'm okay if I just have one ball that I'm just mainly focusing on. But we can't have a balanced life. I mean, it sounds good on paper. It sounds good to hear it out loud.
Yeah.
I have that balanced life and this is what I do. But in all actuality, how do you maintain a balanced life?
Yeah. And I think one aspect that you touched that is important is when you get that, let's call it balance, right? You get like that routine, you wake up, you do this, la la la, and then suddenly something happened and then that is not working anymore. Oh my God. And especially for me, especially during pandemic, it was really, really, I realized how much I rely on routines to really squeeze and put all the things that I need to do. So then when I was working, I was commuting, going to London. So then doing the train, I was doing certain things. And then suddenly, no, you need to be at home. And then, no, and now the kids that need to be at home as well. And then you need to homeschooling while you're working a full-time job, learning how to manage soon and all the things that you were doing to do physically. You know what I mean? And there's like, no, they can go to school. Okay, they go to school. No, they're coming back. So every time I needed to really change the ways of living. And at the beginning was a little bit tough, like to kind of like in my brain to really don't feel frustrated or unbalanced or like, you know, going like, this is too much, until I was like, let's create a new routine. So let's give you a go to this routine or this way of living from tomorrow and see what happened. And from that point, I was able to accept the changes. And, you know, I just giving you like 3 examples, but like it was constantly, and then wave 2 of the pandemic came, and then wave 3, and then they come back to school, and then one can go and the other one is stay. Like, but until I was okay to have that shake and then let's start again. Tomorrow I'm going to try a different thing. I'm being okay with that. A lot of anxiety and a lot of like feeling that unbalanced feeling. It was much better. And then I realized also that I'm a routine person. Mm-hmm. I like to have certain routines which help me to have a mental health, that I don't have everything accumulated in my head, because I know what is going to happen in this routine in the morning, for example, or what I do at lunchtime, or what I do, you know, like that allows me to take things out of my brain and feel a lot better with myself and, you know, what's going on around. So that was quite a discovery during this time.
Yeah, that happened to me too. I mean, I've always loved a routine, and I've always loved Mondays. And like the people that are like, "That's your favorite day of the week? What's wrong with you?" And I'm just like, because you get out of a routine so easy. Saturday, Sunday, it could be like crazy schedules. I mean, my kids are athletic and a lot of family events or whatever. And then I'm like, it's too much, you know, so I can get hectic. But yeah. I think, again, it's not about doing everything a certain percentage, like giving 100 anywhere. And I don't believe so much in the 100%, because that means it's perfection. Like that's the top notch. But to give your best energy when and where where you are in that moment. So if you are with your kids for 20 minutes, give it your energy, all your best energy. If you are, you know, you're on a date with your husband and you have a meeting later, leave the meeting for later. You're now on a date with your husband. If you're taking a bubble bath right now, be present, be there, instill the energy you do have where you are. That to me is more important than trying to balance things out. Like, okay, 20 minutes with you, 20 minutes, trying to make things equal is not a balance.
Yeah.
It's a misconception.
Yeah.
And it's impossible. And that's why I think people are stressed out, because they want to balance everything out, and that's impossible.
Yeah, you're stressed because you're stressed because you don't have the balance, but then you're not going to get the balance if you're stressed.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like a whole setup. Never gonna win. I just don't understand how women really do it, or anybody, women or men who, you know, really portray to really be on it, right? Like they're just, it's content. And you look at them like, how do you find the time to just be on it like that? You're like, you don't sleep, you don't eat. And when you hear often about people who are very successful very quickly, they climb up pretty quickly. You look at their personal lives and they're not that stable. And I don't want that. I don't want to climb fast. I don't want to rise to the top without having everything that initially motivated me to do what I was doing anyway. Why climb to the top and lose everything? Lose everything and then be up there by myself. No friends, no family, no quality life, no wholesome anything. Everything is going to be what? Materialistic and just so, I don't know, reality TV. That like I can't do it. But when I see people do that, it kind of irks me because they're the ones painting the picture for the rest of us, giving us this false, you know, identity of, you know, you have to do it all. And if you don't do it all, forget it. You have to be up by 4, go to bed at 12, you know, be the last to go to bed and the first to get up. And you're like, oh my gosh, I got to keep up. With who? For what?
Yeah.
And for what? We need to always make sure we have our visions clear. What made you start? So you don't fall off that wagon, because you will lose everything else. You may climb to the top, but you could lose everything else, or you're not going to have what you had before. And that energy will change and shift, and you're not going to produce the quality of anything after that.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that so much.
It's so hard, but it's not that hard, especially when the things that you are doing are things that you love. And I think that's really key to anything you do, to finding that work-life balance, to finding that happy medium is make sure if you are doing 10 things, that at least you love 8 out of 10. Because it's, I think, probably unrealistic to love every single thing you do, but find things you love. The more you do that you love, the less stressed you're going to feel to get it done. Even if you're physically tired, I think it'll definitely weigh off that pressure that you feel. You know, that you're not good enough or whatever. So it's been an amazing conversation. This is a conversation we could have for hours. We could break it down, but
bring in the wine, please.
But I want to honor everybody's time because it is, you know, an evening, but I didn't want to end just like that. So I didn't introduce in the beginning because we were waiting on some more people, but Arvilla Beckworth, I'm pointing at you here, but you're probably over there, you're probably different screens, but Arvilla Beckworth, she is, first of all, an amazing woman. Okay. Aside from the hats that she wears, it's her energy. It's her soothing voice while I'm on my way to work. Sometimes I'm like, yep. And I wish you could hear me. And I wish I could text her at 6:30 in the morning and say, girl, I heard that. I don't know the difference between a goal and a dream. Got me journaling some things here. She's an amazing podcast host. She's an accountability strategist, and she has so much energy. It's really contagious when I see her content. And it's not just content, because I know that's what we call it out here in social media, but it's the energy, it's her passion that comes through, and it's really contagious. And I'm so happy that you came on board today. Gave us your wisdom.
Thank you for inviting me.
I need to hear that voice now. I'm intrigued.
Second chance at life. While I'm introducing Patricia, put your information down here in the chat. The Patricia Manley, she's also a podcast host, and she's an entrepreneur that I met through Instagram. And she's like a ray of sunshine, okay? Like a ray of sunshine. And like really every time I see her post, they're so colorful, so vibrant, and she's so energetic, and she's on it. And she's passionate about everything she does, she loves. And I love that, because that's something I always want. And I want to be surrounded by women like you, Patricia. So I hope one day I'm by you, I can meet you.
Yeah, definitely. Likewise. And that's what I was thinking, like listening to you. It's kind of like, oh my God, this is the kind of people that I want to be around, like having the drinks and that kind of thing, for sure. Like, and the more that you are in tune with that kind of thing, the more you attract those people. I was just thinking, it's amazing how like we are like Instagram buddies, and then I feel like I know her. Like, hey, hello.
I love it. I love it.
and you know, like having the opportunity to have those connections thanks to social media, and this is what I you know feel that social media in some aspects are really good, is to meeting people like you guys, like all of you. It's just such a fresh of, you know, fresh air, like, oh my god, there are women like me around the world. That is so good.
I
So
love
good.
it. I love it. And I love the diversity in our statuses, our backgrounds. I love it all. And if we could do that and we're still like-minded, there's so much we can do out here, and there's so much work to get done. But I absolutely loved having you ladies here. And I look forward to another chat soon, perhaps on a different topic of women empowerment. Instead of work-life balance, there's a million to choose from.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, if follow each other, put your handles there, let's support each other on whatever projects that you have. I'm always excited to work with other women. It doesn't matter where you're from. I love it.
Yes.
So
Yeah, thank you
for
so
your
much.
energy. Thank you for your energy. And Patricia, it's a million thank yous for staying up this late. I feel like tomorrow
It's the
I'm
best.
gonna be like,
Totally worth it to you know to stay awake until 1 o'clock. Now I need to talk with my husband. It's like, you know, who's going to wake up tomorrow early, right, and do the breakfast. He needs to do it now because I need to have my sleep.
oh my goodness. Thank you, ladies, for joining
Thank you,
tonight.
ladies.
It's been amazing.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.